Good morning everybody, my name is Shankarji. Today we will be studying chapter 11, Lights, Shadows and Reflections. What do you mean by light? Light is an energy which enables us to see things. However, there are also invisible lights which we cannot see. Nevertheless, light is an energy which enables us to see things. So what do you mean by shadows? Shadows are images formed when light is blocked by opaque objects. Opaque objects, like we discussed in earlier classes, opaque objects are those objects which block the light. Like say this marker, it won't allow the light to pass through it. It will block the light. And what do you mean by reflections? When the path of light is diverted to some other path, that means it's reflection of light. So, lights, light, shadows and reflections. There are two types of objects, luminous objects and non-luminous objects. What do you mean by luminous objects? Luminous objects are those objects which emit their own light, which can produce their own light and give it out. Non-luminous objects are those objects which cannot produce their own light. However, they can reflect the light and divert in their paths. Example of luminous objects are stars, the sun, even glowworms, even fireflies. So these can produce their own light, they can emit their own light. Non-luminous objects, for example, they are planets like the planet Earth on which we are living and all the other planets of the solar system, the table, the chair, etc. Because this table cannot emit its own light, it can only reflect the light. So the light coming out of this table is actually the light coming out from the bulb. The bulb is a source of electric light, it's a light source because it can produce its own light. So even the electric bulb, even a tube light, even an LED light, they are the luminous objects. Next, we come to transparent, translucent and opaque objects, which we have already discussed in earlier classes. What do you mean by transparent objects? Transparent objects are those objects which completely allow light to pass through them. In other words, you can see through the transparent objects. For example, a clear glass plane. If you keep a glass plate in front of me right now, I can see through it. It will completely allow the light to pass through it. It's completely transparent. What do you mean by translucent? Translucent objects are those objects which will allow only some light to pass through it, partial light, not fully, like maybe a butter paper or an oily paper or a colored paper. So that's a translucent object. And what do you mean by opaque object? Opaque objects are those objects which completely block the light from passing through them. That's why shadows are formed when opaque objects block the path of light. An example of an opaque object, even this marker is an opaque object because the light will not be passed where the marker is. It can pass through the side of it, but not through it. Even a cardboard, if you have a cardboard or even a textbook object. So these are a few examples of opaque objects. Now, let's define shadows. How will you define shadows? Shadows are images formed when light is blocked by opaque objects. Shadows are wonderful images which we can use in puppet shows. You might have seen some puppet shows. So what happens? Two puppets are placed around and using their shadows, a puppet show can be created. You can make the puppets dance and with the shadows you can have a shadow puppet dance. So shadows are very useful in fun activities, entertainment activities and also for studying science and technology. So shadows are very useful. And a simple example which I would like to give over here is a pinhole camera. A pinhole camera was earlier made manually. Later on, the camera which we use nowadays, even the digital camera, it all has the same technique. You just have a pinhole, a bunch of light rays passes through it, and once it reaches a small pinhole, the light gets spread out. So that's the basic phenomena of all cameras. So the pinhole camera, a lot of light rays pass through it. They get hit by this opaque object, but only a small opening is there. So light spreads out through the pinhole. So this principle is the basic principle for all cameras, be it manual cameras, digital cameras, projectors, etc., which you will study in your higher classes. Now, never ever look directly at the sun because we don't have the power to directly look at the sun. Only the eagle can look directly at the sun for long times without getting its eyes damaged because we don't have that extra protective layer to look at the sun directly. However, we can look at the sun maybe for a quick glance, but don't stare at the sun directly, and especially never look at the sun directly at the solar eclipse, during solar eclipses. But in generally, if you want to look at the sun, maybe you can put some protective glasses take darkened glasses, maybe you can look at it for some time, or maybe you can go to the solar observatory and you can observe the sun. There's a world famous solar observatory in Udaipur, Rajasthan. There it's constantly monitoring our sun and its movements and its and they are studying it in detail. In generally, we can look at the sun, we can quickly glance through the sun, but never stare at the sun for longer periods of time, because that will be very dangerous to our eyes.